Hey guys, it's me again, your XLEC 3x rank 1 coach. Welcome to another tutorial. This time I'll be showing you one of my best champions and one of my most favorite ones as well, Lucian. I just want to quickly say that it takes me a lot of time to make these, so I would appreciate that if you enjoy these, to like, subscribe and comment any thoughts you might have. On to the video. The reason why Lucian is one of my most favorite champions, despite his kit seemingly looking super easy, is because there's actually a lot of depth to playing him. And I promise you that if you watch this video till the end, not only will you master all the things I learned over the years, but you will also see and feel how smooth and satisfying he is to play. Because you are a low range AD carry with zero utility for your team, your only contribution to the game is dealing damage. And that is exactly what I will teach you in this guide. Basically, what this whole guide shows you is how to maximize your DPS in any given scenario. First of all, make sure you're playing with the high known skin. By far the smoothest skin to play. It actually makes a difference, 100%, believe me. There's a kind of a universal rule while playing Lucian, and that is that you never use two abilities after each other without using your passive. Except for a few exceptions, which I will be showing later on, so stay tuned for that. Essentially, what you always want to be doing is using auto, cancel it, ability auto, cancel it, ability auto, right? Because like your auto attacks, you can cancel them, right? Like on other champions, it's kiting, but you can also cancel them with abilities. So Lucian is basically designed around you canceling his autos with his abilities for maximum DPS. And this is super important while playing Lucian. So for example, this is what your max damage combo would look like. Something like that, right? So here's an in-game example of the full DPS combo. And we will go into your max DPS combos later on in the guide when I dissect each ability. So we will eventually, get to dissecting that as well. So stay tuned. Okay, so your Q is a very simple ability. However, there's one hard rule, and that is that every single time you auto first, auto Q, auto Q, auto, oops, no cooldown, auto Q, extremely important. However, there is one exception I'm about to show you right now. So the exception would be when you want to trade or kill the enemy under tower. It can also be a trade where you want to start with Q, auto, and E out, right? That's also a viable thing to do with Lucian, is just start with Q, auto, E out, so you spend less time being under tower. So it can be an ability, it can be just Q, auto, boom, you're out of tower range, you just chunked him for 300 HP for free. It can be same with W, just do that. You know, in this case, you want to start with the ability first. W. Your W usage is super important, and most of the times you want to be starting or opening the fight with your W. To tag the enemy for movement speed and passive damage. The movement speed makes it then way easier for you to stick to your target to DPS them and then to follow up with a Q. Like in this clip, I will walk up, open with W first, then go for an AA, Q, AA, and keep my E for his hook to get out for a quick chunk. Also, if you see the enemy running into your auto attack range, you start with W. If you see them face checking you in a bush, you start with W. In this clip, I will E over. I have both W and E up, but I choose to use W first because once you tag them with W, you get extra movement speed. It gets very easy to stick to the target. So, this might actually come off as a surprise to a lot of you, but Lucian E, even though seemingly it's a very simple ability, has two uses. It's two different abilities. The first use is you dash outside of your indicator range for a long dash, right? You dash a long distance. The second use, you dash short distance, right? And what the short distance dash allows you to do is reset your auto attack. So you just use that as an auto attack reset. The second dash you use when you need to gain distance or dodge a skill shot or just run away. The first dash when you need to reset your auto attack. This is super important. If this is not your muscle memory while playing Lucian, you cannot be good on Lucian. So for a long dash, just E outside of your indicator. For a short dash, E somewhere close to your character, within the indicator distance. The closer to your character, the shorter the dash. That's actually kind of crazy. You can even start E level 1 if the enemy has a key spell you need to dodge. Think Blitzcrank or Pike Hook, Mantra Q. Here is an example of me using my E to reset my auto attack. Notice how quickly you dish out damage when you play for the auto attack reset. And here I flash in and use my E to quickly reset my auto and get the kill. Another cool thing that you can do with your E is baiting champions that have a jump to jump on you and afterwards you E and start kiting, like in the examples shown here. For the fastest instant auto-attack reset, you can also dash into a wall the same way you would tumble into it with the Vayne Q. For your ulti, we also have a multitude of ways you can use it. Keep in mind that the same rule with putting autos right before the ability counts here as well. I see way too many Lucians not cancel their auto attack with their ultimate properly, resulting in poor DPS outcomes. In this instance, since I am chasing my enemy, I will just ulti as I keep chasing them since they are outside of my auto range and I want to keep gaining ground on them. Same thing here, just auto attack plus cancel with ulti. Or when you are being chased by the enemy and have to keep running, you can get some DPS in. When you can't enter the fight yet but want to DPS from a safe position. Same case here, the fight starts, but I don't really want to dash in yet, so I will just ulti, wait for the fight to progress, DPS from distance, and then go in for a cleanup. Another super important thing to mention is the importance of tagging the enemy with your W before ulting, so you can make sure your ulti hits. For the most DPS, you want to keep your ult for after you've used all your basic abilities, whilst they are on cooldown, and as soon as they start coming back up, you cancel your ult and go back to cycling your basic abilities again. You can of course use that on neutrals as well, as I do in this clip when you're in a rush to get the objective as fast as possible. Same thing in this 1v1. Toward the end of your ult, you can also cancel it as well, because the passive hit actually spikes your DPS for a split second for a finisher. Same thing in this fight. I will use my ulti for a short while to maximize my DPS whilst my auto attack is on cooldown and cancel it right after. One of the few exceptions where you want to use two abilities together is the super important E plus W combo. You can basically cast your W while you're Eing. This is super important for whenever you are engaging the fight. This is going to be your most used combo in the game. The only exception where you wouldn't want to do this is when you have all your other abilities on cooldown, so you wouldn't be able to keep cycling them afterwards. Here are some other combos that I sadly couldn't find in my games, but once in 100 games you can do this and it will blow the enemy's mind, okay? So the fastest DPS combo you can do on Lucian is you're standing next to a wall, the enemy is about to run into you. You're gonna open with W, into the wall for auto attack reset, Q, auto, and instant ulti, right? So if I do it as in like in a real succession, like let's reset my cooldowns, it will look something like this. That's the fastest DPS combo you can make, and the enemy will get completely turbo one-shot, right? If they're face checking into you. Another thing that you can do is, let's say this target dummy is an enemy that's pretty low HP, right? And you kind of want to dive them. What you can do is W, flash, auto, Q, like this, boom. You take one tower shot and you did an extreme amount of damage in a very short time. So once again, to recap, I will start with W, flash, auto, short dash, auto, Q, auto, go out. So I want to touch on the Lucian pairings a little bit. If you're playing with the melee engage champ, your game is way easier to play and you might have an easier time getting fed because you have someone to engage for you and your champion is pretty good at following up the engage and killing people. However, your scaling is not as good as if you were playing with an enchanter. But with an enchanter you need to be pretty good in terms of knowing your limits, because most of the times you need to be engaging the fights. And yeah, the trade-off there is that you scale better with enchanters. A small bonus clip in how I clear waves. I will wait for most of the minions to aggro before queuing, then I will walk into the wave, to W to hit the entire wave as well. I will quickly discuss the runes and items, as this is most likely to change in the future. For the runes, this has generally been the best page for solo queue for the last 2 years, so it might still hold. We go attack speed instead of lifesteal because we're never building attack speed shoes anyway, so it's nice to get some attack speed from runes for a smoother feel. And we're going Presence of Mind, even though we're going Essence Reaver, because we still lack mana in early skirmishes and we want to avoid that. For boots, it's Tabai, if viable they're the best shoe on Lucian, over keeping magical footwear and not upgrading it, over CDR shoes, if you have the exact amount of gold needed to buy them on your base, over MR shoes, given the enemy is mostly magic damage. Attack speed shoes are complete trash on Lucian, don't go attack speed shoes. For build right now, it's ER, you want to build it like this. You go pickaxe, over double longsword, over warhammer, over crit cloak. After ER, you go Navori, and third is most of the times IE or Dominic's, depending on if the enemy has armor or not. So that is the end of this video. Of course I could keep going for another 30 minutes about other things, as always, but I try to put the things that I believe are the most important, that will give you 99% of what you need to know to become a god on this champ. My next guide will be Aphelios, but as you might imagine, that is going to take a while to make. But I will see you on the streams meanwhile. Subscribe, smash the like button, and until next time, thank you.